Greetings. We are here at Tybee, and we are here in this era of social activism, this new era of social activism, stronger social activism, social justice, as some people call it, changing a system, that's what others going to say. And as I had shared with students at Georgia Southern, I had shared with them, where do we see one of the first waves of this occurring? And like most people, they don't realize it was at Georgia Southern. When those students at Georgia Southern, my boy Keyshawn Housey was my intern, and others, when they're now marching through the campus at Georgia Southern some 2 years ago, when they're now addressing what they viewed as being racism at Georgia Southern. So I told folks, I said, guess what? See, that's what happened when you're in environments, you don't know your story. So that's why somebody like me, it doesn't matter where I ever go or where I'm located, I can give history about that environment that is connected to what's happening right now or to great moments of the past. But now for some of us, we know for a fact, when you are talking about this stuff with regards to disparities in justice and treatment, with regards to social economic things, social political, social cultural, just regarding society, how I am treated. Now, some of y'all know that there's something else that comes into play that goes back in time before the 2000s, before like 1990, around late 1980s, early 1990s. Someone by the name of Dr. Ifikon Simon, Kenneth Flo, Nadra Enzi, later on led also by an individual by the name of Mr. Keith Preacher I Am Possible Brown, Anthony Wiggins, Tony Wiggins. They will create something called Orange Crush, in particular Kenneth Flo. Orange Crush, some people don't realize, and I share it, folks, Orange Crush was a Pan-African event, Pan-African, because it was involving enjoying the beach, after you had programs, presentations on culture, history, economics, and also science. That's what they did. That's what they did. That's what Orange Crush was created. Some of y'all heard me teach this, that Orange Crush was a Pan-African event. So when others think about Orange Crush, most people think about the beach. So with Orange Crush, when I was at Mercer University in law school, that's when my boys going to go and create this event. We come back here. But it's something that some of us noticed about Orange Crush when we came to Tybee. When we came to Tybee, we saw a whole bunch of law enforcement officers, a whole bunch of police. Whole bunch of them we saw right here at Tybee. Now, this was a gathering of folks who had not celebrated, as I said, a part of the events during the week. So this was a culminating event. But we got a bunch of police. Why we have a bunch of police out here? And you heard what I just said, this is late 80s, 90s, that we're dealing with this. So when you look at this today, looking at disparities in the treatment, it evolves from the 80s, 90s to the 2000s, 2010s. So when people now begin to make Orange Crush this criminal activity, a criminal event, we began to criminalize us, people don't realize, in the 1980s, the late 1980s and 1990s. And people did not stand up for Orange Crush like they should have. Didn't stand up, and they caused it to be disconnected. And so now at Tybee Island, they began to criminalize us coming here, where they have a plethora of law enforcement officers here for Orange Crush, where you might have, let's say, 4,000 African Americans coming out here on the beach, maybe 5,000 coming on the beach. But then you got 10 times to 12 times that amount of people coming here for something called 4th of July. Something called Labor Day. So you have thousands more coming out here, 60,000, 50,000 people out here on Tybee during that weekend for 4th of July and for Labor Day. And you have a plethora, of law enforcement officers for Orange Crush. But when it comes to 4th of July, you don't see nobody. Some of y'all remember, I intentionally let that helicopter, that plane fly over, because some of y'all remember when we came on Tybee that we saw the police, not just on the ground, but also in the sky. So they criminalized the event called Orange Crush. And it continued, as I said, late 80s, 90s, 2000s, and 2010s, where now we see it gets even worse. So what am I asking for right now? I'm asking for you all to send me to post your Orange Crush stories, What happened when you all came here for Orange Crush? The good times, okay times, and the not so good times, and what your observations were. You began to criminalize us, whereas when students from SCAD, Armstrong at the time, and Georgia Southern, when they came out here later on, you didn't see the same type of police presence. But for African Americans, we were criminalized. And that goes back in time. So I tell folks, guess what? You all think this is something new? For some of us who've been in this struggle, guess what? It's nothing new to us. And that's why today I'm saying to you all, tell me, share with me, I am me, DM me. Put out there what were your Tybee stories. Post it on here, your Tybee stories regarding Orange Crush. Yeah, it hasn't changed. It's always been here. Now it's time for us to step up and really make the change. That's what we've been talking about since the late 80s, early 90s, 2000s, 2010s. We're now in 2020. Peace and blessings.